Hi everybody, Allie here with ABC Bead Supply, and I'm here today with a tutorial for you on using the wooden accents. The initial kind of thing that everybody goes to with these is definitely earrings, and that's what they're intended for, kind of as the main purpose. So these make really fun earrings. You can use them as is on the wire hooks, or you can add beaded baubles to them in between to jazz them up a little bit. So this is a pair of the skeleton, using the skeleton and spider web ones. And then we've got the pumpkin. This is using gold hardware versus the skeletons used silver. Some pretty little tinsel 12mm acrylic beads on there with the pumpkin. So earrings is definitely kind of the initial thought with these, but they're also really great for using anything that you would use a pendant on. So keychains. The I Don't Give a Muck is really cute, especially with all the Hocus Pocus fans out there. I feel like this is definitely a popular one, popular wooden pendant that can be used on a keychain easily for Halloween. And then the boo we have featured here as kind of a charm, a pendant charm on one of the cell phone charm wristlets. So there's definitely, you can use these ones that we have mounted to the cell phone charm and the keychain. You can use those for earrings as well. The teardrop shaped ones lend themselves to earrings pretty specifically. They look really nice on the ends of beaded garland too. If you dig back into our samples from last Christmas, we showed one of these on a beaded garland with this pendant shape. But these other cuts and styles are perfectly usable for earrings as well, but then I feel like they kind of are easier to use on other projects too, more so than the teardrops. So all of them can be used for earrings, and then your other shaped ones are perhaps a little bit more versatile. So I'm going to show you how to make each of these items. We're going to walk you through it. Let's start with the earrings, since that's just kind of the more basic use for these. I'm going to demo the earrings using the pumpkin supplies. I'm not going to demo both since they're made the same way, just using different supplies. So the only difference is we're using silver hardware instead of gold on these. And then these beads are the Black Galaxy. I love these Black Galaxy beads for Halloween. Look how pretty those are, and they really pair nice with the skeleton and cobweb. So that's an alternative idea for the earrings, but let's show you how to make them using the pumpkins. So you're going to start with making this little bauble attachment. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to add a 4mm acrylic spacer bead, and you want to use the acrylic spacer beads that we carry for the 4mm base of these. The tarnish resistant stainless steel large hole spacers, those holes are going to be too big for the head pins. Well, I guess you'd actually be okay with them on these eye pins. If you're making the flat-headed baubles, you definitely don't want to use them. You could use either of them on these eye pins because you're going much bigger than the hole on that loop. Then you've got the orange tinsel 12mm acrylic bead, super, super pretty. And then another 4mm spacer. And then what we're going to do is you're going to take these side cutters, and all of these tools are available on our website at abcbeadsupply.com that we're using, as well as the other supplies. So you can get the tools there as well. And you're going to take the side cutters and you're just going to trim about a thumbnail's distance, somewhere between 1/4 of an inch and 1/2 of an inch. Never measured exactly, just kind of eyeball that. So you're going to trim the wire to shorten it down, and then you're going to take your needle nose pliers and just flatten out that wire at a 90-degree angle. And then you're going to come through with round nose pliers, and rather than clipping them like this at the end, you want to take your wrist and rotate it all the way underneath, so that when you clip the end here, pinch the end here, you can get a full loop rotation without stopping. And that's going to give you a nice seamless loop on the top of that. But before you close it all the way, you're going to leave a little gap here. And then that's where you'll add the earring wire before you close the rest of the way. And then you'll just close that little tiny portion there. So you've got your bobble here. Now, I had previously mentioned flat head pins. The flat head pins, do I have one over here that I can show you quick? Here's kind of a bunch of odds and ends ones that I have, a little stash. This is what the flat ones look like. And we've most recently used these on the brooch tutorial that we have up on the site. So this is what I'm referring to about the whole size of your spacers, with wanting to make sure the main reason that you put these spacers on is to prevent these larger beads from falling through the head pin. So it's not quite as necessary on these looped ones, but it's definitely necessary on these. So another earring style that you can make is actually beading this rather than making a connective piece here for the larger pendant. You could actually just stop here and have that be your earring, a sweet little earring bobble, and just tiny little earrings. I've made those for kids a lot. It's just kind of a nice little dainty look. So that's a little sidebar. I got sidetracked there, but we're going to open up now. This is a 5mm stainless steel jump ring, and we're going to loop that through the wood earring and then through that bottom loop on the eye pin. And then I just find it easiest to use 2 pair of pliers to close that back up. And then there you go. So that's how easy it is to attach these little beaded baubles to your earrings. I won't bother showing you the second one for sake of time. That was probably long enough on that, but that's how you do the earrings. Now let's do the keychain. So for the keychain, you're going to take a piece of stretchy elastic cord. Again, all of these supplies are available on our website at abcbeadsupply.com. You're going to just take that cord and take all of the initial stretch out of it. That initial slack is going to make it so that your keychain doesn't lose shape and stretch out where you don't want it to. You want it to have some give, but not too much, especially with keychains, since they're going in and out of purses a lot and they've got the weight of a keychain on them. You want to get that stretch out in advance. And then you're going to just fold the cord in half, and you're going to take that looped end and push it through the swivel portion of the keychain. And then we'll just grab those 2 tails and pull them through like that. And so then that's what you've got. I don't know why I've got 2 over here. You only need 1 keychain. Okay, I'm gonna trim this just a little shorter. I had a lot of slack in mine, so it's really stretched out. Then we have a tiger orange glitter bead. This is really pretty for Halloween. A silver crystal rondelle spacer, a black ultraviolet and orange rhinestone confetti bead. And then once you get to that point where you've got that middle 20mm bead on, you're going to split the cord in half into 2 pieces. So rather than holding them and beading together at this point, we're now going to add the final 2 beads onto just the right hand side of the cord. And we got another spacer and then an ultraviolet solid. And then you're going to take that wooden pendant and we're going to put the cord right through that hole. And then we're going to push it back up through the ultraviolet and the crystal rondelle spacer and pull that all up tight. So now these 2 cord pieces are going to meet right in the middle. And at that point, you can give them a triple knot. So tie once, tie twice, and then on the final tie, I'm going to loop it 2 times. Once you get everything knotted, you want to just make sure that your knot's going to hold. So give it some test pulls. Every once in a while, when you tie a knot with elastic cord, it's going to just kind of come undone. And all I got to do is just retie it. But by testing it, you know if that knot's going to hold or if it's going to be a slipper. And then we'll just trim those ends. And then the knot, you can just kind of push up on this cord and it's gonna slurp right into the hole of the bead and be hidden. So it's gonna be a seamless finish. So that is the I Don't Give a Muck Hocus Pocus keychain. Another fun use for the wooden pendants. And then last but not least, I'm gonna show you how to make the cell phone. So the cell phone tethers we have on the site, these are available individually, and there's different styles, different ways that you can use these. It's just a little plastic T strap on a hook, and this just goes right into the bottom of your cell phone case. So if you just kind of fold that in half, you can feed that through the hole in the cell phone case to pull that T through. And then your phone, I'm using my phone to film, so I can't show you, but your phone just goes right on top of it, right like that. These are just for these aren't anything to do with it. It's just part of my actual case, one of those loopy holders. So this is how, and then you've got your wristlet here. So you can just put that right around your wrist to carry your cell phone. And these wooden pendants on them, you can obviously make these cell phone straps without a pendant, but for the holidays, I just thought that was a really cute little addition to stick one of those on there too. It just kind of hangs nicely, gives a little bit of added festivity to the wristlet. So I'll show you how to make one of these next. So for this, you're going to take the cell phone strap, or sorry, not strap, tether. We're making a strap. And we're going to take a silver crimp tube. These are these little tiny tubes, not to be confused with the bigger crimp clasps that are used for the dog collars, the dog necklaces. These are itty bitty tiny ones for jewelry making. And then you're going to take this tiger tail wire, again, not to be confused with the type of wire that's used on the dog charms. All these are delicate, thinner jewelry sized components. So you're just going to fold that over to make a loop, and then you're going to take that crimp bead and slide it over so that it's going over both of those wire pieces, just like that. And then we're going to take the crimper tools and we're just going to squeeze that crimp shut with the crimper tool, give it a tug to make sure it's holding, and that is going to anchor that wire for you right there. Okay. So then it's time to add our beads. So these are the Sedona Faux Stone acrylic beads and the black pumpkin acrylic beads. And these are 12 millimeters in size. Super festive combination for Halloween, and it pairs really nice with this blue acrylic accent. If you were wanting to stick to earrings, you could easily make either of these beads the bauble on those earrings, and it would look nice. So we're going to do 5 of these 12 millimeter beads, and then we're going to add a crystal rondelle spacer, and then we're going to go back to our pattern here on the 12 millimeter beads. Now we have photos of all of these projects over on our website blog at abcbeadsupply.com. We've got photos of each project, along with clickable supply list links below each of them. That's going to take you right to absolutely everything used on these supplies so that you can duplicate them easily. So we're going to get all of these middle ones on, and now it's time for us to repeat this spacer bead pattern. Is it? Yes, it is. There's 3 of these orange ones. We want 5 beads total on the end here. And we're going to get them all on. Okay. So now what we want to do, I find it easiest just to get all your beads on. So there's not too much fussing because things don't necessarily stay in place as you're working with them. You want this wire tail here. You want your 12 millimeter beads to go right over top of that so that you don't see that. There's really no sense in tucking it until the end here because as you're beading, it can just easily slide off. Then we're going to take one of these silver crimp tubes again and put it on the end of this tiger tail. And then we're going to go up through the end of this tether, and you might have to readjust that tail a few times. Like I said, it shimmies. There's not a ton of point in getting it perfect from the get-go. So we're going to loop. We've got this crimp tool, silver crimp tube right on here. So we're going to take that tiger tail wire and we're going to fold it back over, and we're just repeating what we did. It's the same concept. It's just that you're ending with this loop rather than starting with it. So it's just kind of doing it in reverse. And you're going to shimmy this cord down these beads this go around rather than how we did it the first time. So at this point we can kind of tuck that cord back in. It just takes a little bit of maneuvering your beads back and forth to get them to all lay right. Patience. Get them all to that side, and then we can pull some more. I don't want to lose my crimp tube. These crimp beads can fall into the holes of the 12 millimeter beads. So just kind of keeping an eye on that. Once you expand them and you crimp them, they're not going to do that. It's just while you're tightening these up, you want to keep that crimp tube up on the top. Okay, so once we have everything kind of where we want it here, I'm checking to make sure I don't have any huge gaps in my wire. I want to feed this wire tail through a few more beads. It'll give it a little bit more security the more that you double it up. And we lost that crimp bead again, so I'm just pulling that back out of that hole. And I'm pinching the crimp bead while I'm pulling this just to make sure it doesn't disappear again on me. All right, so now we're going to take the crimp tools and we're going to crimp this last crimp bead on the end here. Make sure that that's holding. It didn't quite crimp all the way through, so we're going to give it another squeeze. I probably didn't put enough pressure on it. There we go. Now we're going to take our side cutters and we're just going to give a clip to that wire tail just like that, and there we have our wristlet. So fun. And then we're going to take a 5 millimeter stainless steel jump ring. We do have 6 millimeter jump rings. It's a little easier to work with the bigger jump rings, but what I recommend doing is always using the smallest jump ring possible, because there's less likelihood, if you're not using a split ring jump ring, there's less likelihood of it prying open and opening up on you when you don't want it to and falling off. Using split jump rings prevents them from opening, but I find that the split jump rings are tough to use with the wooden accents because they can actually break the wood. It takes a lot of twisting and finagling on those jump rings. Even with the split jump ring pliers that we have, there's a lot of pressure going on when you're putting one of those on. So with the enamel charms, the metal charms, that's fine, but with wood you want to be more delicate than that. So you really just want a single loop jump ring on these wooden pieces, and if you go smaller with that 5 millimeter, it's going to have the least likelihood of opening up on you when you don't want it to. So we have a cell phone charm wristlet, we have a keychain, we have earrings, And we've got 2 different styles here for you. All of these wood accents are in our Halloween collection over on our website at abcbeadsupply.com. All the other supplies used, tools, everything can also be found there. And again, there's a blog post with photos and supply lists to duplicate each of these projects, all over at abcbeadsupply.com.